speak a little bit about the American experience of my people here. And a lot of things that have been mistold and a lot of untruths that have been said about the flight here coming to America. I don't know how many people are familiar with a man by the name of Marcus Garvey. He was a very, very powerful man that was born in Jamaica. And at about 13 or 14, he started to travel because he started to hear things about the mistreatment of our people here in America during slavery. Everybody's familiar that what we call today African Americans were put into slavery. And during that time of slavery, everything was taken from them. Their culture, their creed, their heritage, their God, their diet, everything was replaced with a subculture. So during slavery, there was a lot of things that happened, and there was a lot of fear that was instilled into these people by beatings, by lynchings, by shootings and things of that nature that is carrying on today. I don't know how many people are familiar with the Willie Lynch letter. Willie Lynch was a slave owner that was asked to come here because the American slave owners were having revolts. They didn't know how to control them. So he brought a system over here, and he said that if you implement this system, you would keep them enslaved for 300 years. This was in 1712. He told about putting men against women, putting dark against light, putting old against young. The things that you see my people and a lot of people going through today. Marcus Garvey, when he came here in 1912, he started the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association. He started that organization because he saw the lack of organization here with our people. He saw the lack of nationhood. He saw the lack of esteem. So in this organization, he taught about things like coming together as one, doing for yourself. He said things like a beggar nation should always be a slave. He said things like a nation without a nationality, how do you identify yourself to the world? So here in America, my people have been given a lot of marks, like black. At first, my grandma, I think she was a nigger, and then it became Negro. And then my mother was colored, and then I was black, but now I think I'm African American. So it's kind of confusing because it's like, okay, you have a people, we know they're a people, we see them. We know they have some type of history, but here in America, they're taught that their history starts here, and that's it, and that's false. So these marks carry an energy with them. If anybody has ever looked up the word black, I don't think you want to be called that. Because the word black means absent of light. It means things that are dark, things that are not good. It's all bad. You have days that are called black market, black hot. All of these things they're never donating to anything good. So understanding that these marks that were put on the people carry an energy, so thus do the people carry that energy as well. Marcus Garvey introduced, he was talking about there's going to be somebody to come after him that is going to teach about the nationality of these people, that the ex-slave. And his name is Timothy Drew, later to be known as Noble Drew Ali. A lot of people see this fez on my head and they wonder, they're like, well, what is that? And how are you wearing that out in public? Because you have a division that's called the Masons, they wear fezzes and stuff like that. This is a Moorish fez. This is the original fez. There is a difference in height. There also is a difference in our tassel. See, our tassel swings freely on purpose because we navigate through the world. Those people had a nation. They had a nationality. They had a history. They had a flag prior to slavery. Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali came together to create this banner for the UNIA movement. And I say banner, not a flag. This does not represent a nation. Every nation has a flag or a descent name from their forefathers to represent them. Mexican from Mexico, they have a Mexican flag. Puerto Rican from Puerto Rico, they have a Puerto Rican flag. Dutch, French, it doesn't matter. Wherever you go around the world, they have a flag. except the so-called black man. So they came up with this as a sense of unity, to bring you together under one principle, right? This was a good thing. But he told you of somebody that was going to come to bring the original. This flag here and this flag you see on my chest, a lot of people look at this and they know it. It's Morocco, right? Well, there's two different stars. The Moroccan flag star is flat. The Moorish star flag, it interlocks. It is not flat. This is still a solid. Okay? So the Moors are the founders of Morocco. And those same ones that we call black today have a history that goes back. This flag is over 10,000 years old. And that didn't start here in America. We today need to understand that there are signs that are even here in Mexico. Around us. We've heard of the stone heads. The stone heads that are a sure sign that these people have been here a long time. Because they go back to from 800 to 600 BC. That's way before Christopher Columbus ever thought about coming anywhere. So when we think about culture and we think about flags, Norbert Ali taught about nationality. He taught that a people without a nationality are subject to any names or any mistreatments of the government in which they live, because you have not a nation. So thus we have these marks. We have these marks on us. And now today we have to understand that those people have a history. They have a history that is very extensive. We have a culture. This fez is a part of our culture, the way we dress, eat. You have to think about eating. If you're given a diet that does not sustain you, then things are going to happen. You can't think right. So we have to understand that this nation of the Moors, the Moorish nation, is what those slaves, ex-slaves were prior to slavery. So, you know, people, I have a couple things. If anybody's heard of the Willie Lynch letter, I have that. I also have a paper that's called Thanksgiving for Whom, because it talks about the beginning of the real Thanksgiving, and it didn't happen here with the Pilgrims. I thank you for having me. Have a good lunch. Peace and love. Yay!